Welcome back, everybody. This is your boy RT. We are back with another exciting session here on Agent Flow Live. Today we are diving right back into the 6 personal perspectives. We're going to be going over the rule number 2, committing to the 80-20 principle. So this is one of my favorite rules in the 6 personal perspectives, because it really does focus on what we love to focus on, and that's being productive, right? Chunking it down to those big rocks, knocking out what we need to do and leveraging out everything else. So we're gonna dive right into this. We're gonna make it fast, quick chunks for you guys so you can get the most use out of your time and get back to work. So let's break it down, committing to the 80-20 principle. So we do understand that 80% of our results is gonna come from 20% of our activities, meaning when we focus on those big activities, the things that we really need to focus on to get those priorities moved down the pipeline, we want to focus on those and kind of leverage everything else out. I want to read something real fast before I get started. The idea that 20% of your actions lead to 80% of your results may be one of the most powerful principles that you could apply in your life, in your business, in your life, all that, right? It's about getting the most from your time and efforts. Again, what are we here to do? We're here to be productive as It's about maximizing your results, and it's about having focus, right? So when we think about those big rocks, we want to think about the things that are going to have the most impact, right? What's going to move the needle the most for us and have the biggest impact on our lives and in our businesses, right? So we want to talk about when you do focus on that 80% or that 20% to get those 80% of the results, so you're going to be maximizing your results, right? You're going to be focused on those big rocks, and we're going to talk about the difference between being busy and being productive. A big mistake people make is being busy. I was in the office all morning making open house flyers. Well, really that's something that my 15-year-old son could be doing for me while he's at home during summer break, and I could be out generating business and talking to my clients. Something that's not able to be leveraged out, right? So I want to make sure that I figure out the things that only I can do, and then figure out the things that I can leverage out and then act accordingly, right? So again, we're going to identify those big rocks. Big rocks go in your calendar first. So big rocks, those are these listing appointments, the ball games, the date nights with your wife. These are the things that only you can do, and nobody else can do those, right? Again, I can have one of my agents out there actually showing properties for a buyer, but I might not necessarily be able to go to that buyer consultation and explain to that buyer how my company is going to be able to help them find their dream home. So again, we want to identify where we need to be and what we need to be doing, and then what we can leverage out, right? Because leverage, it's got the big old crown on his head, and he's big, right? Because leverage is king. Once we identify those big rocks and figure out what we need to be doing, and then we can leverage everything else out in our world. And I love to use the lawn mowing analogy, right? If I can sit there and lead generate for an hour and build a couple of relationships and ultimately maybe sell a couple of houses, rather than being out mowing my yard for an hour, right? I'm better off paying somebody $50 to go mow that yard for that hour. I don't look at it as losing $50. I look at it as buying an hour back where I can go make potentially thousands of dollars, right? So let's identify where our time is best served and best used, and leverage everything else that we don't need to be doing. Identify the big rocks, and those are the 20%. That's our 20%. That's what we're going to focus on, right? So we can be productive and maximize our results. It all works right back together, right? So once we identify where we need to be leveraging these things out, we're going to start getting things off our plate. We're going to start buying our time back. Once we buy our time back, we're able to use that time, either time with our family, or spending time to make more money and able to leverage out on a larger scale, right? So it's all about scalability. It's all about leveraging out small things at first and then leveraging out big things later as we scale up, right? So once we kind of identify that leverage, then we kind of want to talk about the one thing, right? What's the one thing in your business or in your life that if we could handle that, or if we could get that taken care of, everything else would just be easier or not necessary at all. So if we can identify that one thing, what's that one thing that we could be focused on, that big rock, that when we move this rock or we really focus on this and chunk this down, everything else just becomes a lot easier. So ask yourself, figure out what in your world is that one big thing, and let's figure out what that is. And then it just becomes, let's write an action plan, right? It's always about putting a plan into action. All this is for naught if we're not doing anything to put it into action, right? So we're gonna put it into plan with a 411. So a 411, right, this is similar to a GPS. This is another roadmap that's gonna help us chunk down this one thing. We're gonna put it into a yearly goal, or what do we need to get done in a year? For instance, I need to make 12,000 contacts in a year. Okay, well then that means I need to make X amount per month. So that's 1,000 per month, and then 4 weeks, how many is that per week, right? So we're gonna chunk down that 12,000 to 1,000 per month, down to 250 per week. And then we have a manageable action plan to chunk down this big goal, right? We can be very productive when we write our goals down, when we commit to that 80-20 principle, we identify those big rocks, and we start using leverage to our advantage. We can really start building a big business and then start scaling it, start teaching other folks how to do it, partner along with those guys, and build a big world for everybody involved. So guys, be on the lookout for our next video. We're gonna continue the series. Anything else that you guys wanna see, please let us know. We wanna keep rolling these videos out and this content out for you. Hope you have a wonderful day. Get out there, be productive, have a great weekend. We'll talk to you soon. Thanks, guys.